And then finally, and this is my favorite opportunity that this rulemaking provides, is the essentiality of the species. So Fish and Wildlife Service, when WildEarth Guardians and others sued them over their 2015 rule, they had determined that the only population of wild lobos in the United States was not essential to the survival and recovery of the species. And Judge Zips said that actually that determination is arbitrary and capricious, and Fish and Wildlife Service is required to perform a new essentiality determination during this rulemaking. Now, because it's the Endangered Species Act and it's a 45-page law and it's very complicated, you would think that the criteria for essentiality might look something like this. Very, very difficult to determine what species is essential, what isn't. But in fact, it's really, really easy to determine whether an experimental population is essential or non-essential. It says so right here. A non-essential designation for a 10J experimental population means that on the basis of the best available information, the experimental population is not essential for the continued existence of the species. In my mind, this could not be more clear. The only wild population of Mexican wolves in the United States is essential for the continued existence of the species. And that means something on the ground for lobos. It's not just semantics, because regulatory restrictions are considerably reduced under a non-essential experimental population designation. So what does this increased regulatory protection look like? There's two main facets. One is agency consultation. So if a species is determined to be essential, federal agencies like the US Forest Service and BLM and others have to consult with Fish and Wildlife about projects and planning within Mexican wolf territory. So this sounds like, what does that mean? Is that really important? Well, this image dictates exactly why that's important. Wolves can be on the landscape with public lands ranchers on Forest Service lands, and public lands ranchers don't have to do anything to coexist with those wolves. If they were designated as essential, the Forest Service would have to consult with Fish and Wildlife and then potentially make ranchers do things like put up fladry, as in this picture, to reduce conflict with wildlife. The other and probably less important thing for wolves in terms of essentiality is critical habitat. Essential endangered species can trigger essential habitat designations. Because wolves are habitat generalists, this probably doesn't have that much bearing on Mexican wolves. But the agency consultation is really, really, really important.